This is the Valley Today.
Fewer bus routes, more crowded school buses, and longer rides to and from school. Moorhead students who now have to provide their own transportation back and forth to school aren't the only ones who will be feeling the effects of a bus driver shortage.
A lack of drivers is forcing kids living under 2 miles from Horizon Middle School or Moorhead High to find their own way to school instead of hopping on that bus. One of the biggest concerns with the new plan is the safety of Horizon students crossing the street at Ridgewood and 34th Street South. That's where there's 4 lanes of traffic going 40 miles an hour. The district plans to hire crossing guards and also purchase signage.
It has no designated crossing, so we'll create one. They have some striping, the city has some striping to do, so they're just going to add this in and then add ped signs, school ped crossing signs.
Now, with this new plan, the number of students on some buses will increase from 55 to 70 or more, and rural high school routes will be combined, resulting in longer ride times. Bus routes will be added as drivers become more available, and the goal is to be back at full strength before winter.
The school board is also assessing interest in a before-school program to help families who now need to drop their students off even earlier. The state of North Dakota is offering new incentives for people working in early childhood education, up to $3,600 if you work directly with children in a licensed child care setting. It's a push to encourage people to enter that field and to retain valuable employees.
To be eligible, you need to be a member of North Dakota's Early Childhood Workforce Registry. Funding for the incentives is provided by the American Rescue Plan Act.
Just about 6:03 on this Friday morning. Let's get a check of your forecast. Lisa Green tracking the radar, and we have some pretty good stuff coming down right now.
Yeah, still raining in the FM Metro. You could see that in our lights at Luther Family Ford, illuminating those showers coming down. A bit of wind with that too at the moment. And of course, you're going to be running into this on the road. You're going to be dealing with some road spray anywhere where we've had rain. Got some ponding in the lot here, and you may encounter that as you are hitting the road to head to work. It's not going to last a whole lot longer in Fargo-Moorhead. A lot of the heaviest rain is moving eastward, but we're still getting those showers right up toward, I would say, the Mapleton area, and the more steady rain continues over to the east from there, and right along Highway 10 between Perham, New York Mills, back over to Wadena is where we're looking at a little thunderstorm going on, some heavier rain happening there, all throughout Lakes Country, in fact. Park Rapids, Detroit Lakes, Wadena, and back into Otter Tail County. We're dealing with this rain that's a little bit heavier, but all of that rain stretches up to the Northern Valley too. We're looking at some showers that are diminishing, but still some showers up by Red Lake and a few of them over by Thief River Falls. Grand Forks has been fairly dry here this morning. We're looking to be on the quieter side there today. And then we are also watching out for some showers moving into southeastern North Dakota, which would be good because that is the area where we've moved into drought conditions. And we'll be talking about that more coming up this morning. It's 63 degrees in Fargo. Of course, we've got some rain coming down. Grand Forks is at 65. So is Jamestown. We're at 61 in Bemidji. Everybody pretty much in the 60s here. Fergus Falls, Devils Lake also at that number. So our planner today, expect to have rain showers continuing through the next hour or so, at least in Fargo. Now, just because we're, this should not say 150. Looks like we got an error there. I mean, that would be a little toasty for us. We will not see that, but we will start to warm up a little bit. Once we see the rain showers and the skies break up a little bit, we'll get some sunshine breaking through. And where that happens, we'll see temperatures reach the low 80s for your high today, coming up for your Friday. More details on that and how much rain we've received so far in some areas coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I was about to get real nervous. Those puddles were going to turn into hot tubs with that kind of temperature out there.
I'm all for the heat, but
just making sure you're awake this morning and paying attention.
The Friday quiz.
Yeah,
right.
Sounds good. Lisa, thank you this morning. It is now 6:05 on this Friday morning. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland is speaking out about the FBI's search of former President Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago, Florida. Garland says he personally approved the decision to seek the warrant that led to Monday's search. The Justice Department has filed a motion to make that warrant public. In a statement, Trump says he encourages the immediate release of those documents.
The search is part of a DOJ investigation into the former president's handling of materials as he was leaving the White House, including classified documents. Garland is also defending the DOJ against attacks on the FBI's integrity, calling them unfounded and warning that the attacks erode respect for the rule of law. The man arrested after an armed standoff with police in Jamestown is now facing formal charges. Kevin Garnica is accused of terrorizing, felonious restraint, preventing arrest, and even possession of meth. Police say a woman escaped a home last week where she had been held against her will by Garnica. He then barricaded himself inside the home for several hours. Nearby homes and even a daycare had to be evacuated.
A Minneapolis judge is scheduled a hearing on Monday morning on the status of plea negotiations for the 2 remaining officers awaiting a trial on state charges in the killing of George Floyd. Toe Tao and J. Alexander King are not commenting on the nature of Monday's hearing, and neither are their defense attorneys. Minnesota State Fair police are worried there may not be enough officers to keep the fair safe this year after coming up short on their recruiting goal. The Ramsey County Sheriff's Office is now pitching in to help, adding up to 40 deputies a day.
30 state troopers are also being assigned to State Fair duties. The Minnesota State Fair starts August 25th and runs through Labor Day. The matchup between incumbent Minnesota DFL Governor Tim Walz and Republican Dr. Scott Jensen officially kicked off this week.
They'll be making their case to voters in the final months before November's election in what polls suggest could be a close race. Caroline Cummings caught up with them as the general election campaign gets underway.
Even before it became official, the governor's race between Walz and Jensen was already heating up.
This job entails more than admiring a problem.
In their first debate at Minnesota's Farm Fest last week, focusing on rural issues, Jensen used his closing statement to hit Walz on public safety.
And we know this is a problem. We got to enforce the law. Got to.
Jensen says it's one of the key issues defining the race as the general election campaign truly begins, and it's one he'll hammer home any chance he gets.
At some level, the buck has to stop somewhere. And I would submit that when the entire state of Minnesota is at risk and there's a poison of lawlessness that's expanded over our state, the buck stops at the governor's desk.
The increases of crime are simply unacceptable.
Governor Tim Walz on Thursday highlighted the state's efforts to crack down on crime. State Patrol and the BCA working to stem violence in the Twin Cities. He pushed back on his challenger's criticism and blamed the legislature for not passing a public safety package.
I think Minnesotans aren't really interested in hearing about the politics of that. These folks back here are non-political. They don't give a damn who's standing in this spot unless that person is there making sure that they have the resources and the mission necessary to reduce crime.
Meanwhile, Walz and Democrats believe Minnesotans will be motivated by the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the future of abortion rights in the state. Access here protected by the state constitution. But Walz says if Jensen is elected governor and there's a GOP-controlled legislature, they could chip away at access.
Abortion is not on the ballot in November.
Now, both Jensen and Walz easily won their respective primaries this week without competitive challengers.
Major changes are on track for downtown Moorhead developers. The city is releasing this revitalization plan right here. We'll take it full screen now. It's designed to dramatically enhance living, working, shopping, and relaxation opportunities in the downtown area. You see that tall building right in the middle? Now that's City Hall, where the current Moorhead Center Mall stands. Now developers want to bring in green space, an outdoor plaza, museums, theaters, new restaurants, and some river view apartments.
Fargo's flood-prone 12th Avenue North Bridge is in line for replacement. The city just got $1.5 million from the State Transportation Department to help pay for raising the bridge, which connects to 15th Avenue North in Moorhead. In the last 13 years, the bridge has been closed for at least a month, 5 different times due to spring flooding. Pride Week in Fargo-Moorhead is up and running. The first event was a free skate last night at Skate City.
Tomorrow and Sunday are the big events. Pride in the Park is Saturday, the Pride Parade on Sunday. Now you can find a full schedule of events by finding this story on that free VNL News app. In our consumer alert ahead right here on the Valley today, Johnson & Johnson sets the date to totally phase out a product that some people think causes cancer.
But up next, your weather to plan your Friday and look ahead to the weekend as we get a soggy start to your morning.